Thanksgiving at the Tappletons.
Thanksgiving at the Tappletons was always a big day. Thanksgiving at the Tappletons meant, of course, the Tappleton family, Mr. Tappleton, Miss Tappleton, Jenny Tappleton, Kenny Tappleton, and grandmother and grandfather Tappleton, and Aunt Hedda and Uncle Fitz, and most certainly, of course, the turkey and the trimmings. It was still dark when Miss Tappleton lit the oven and took the big turkey out of the refrigerator. Just then, someone knocked at the kitchen door. It was Mike, the milkman. "Good morning, Miss Tappleton. I thought you might like some eggnog." Miss Tappleton reached for the eggnog, and the turkey slid from under her arm. Now, on a warmer day, this might have not been a problem, but this Thanksgiving day was quite cold, and the step was covered with ice. But before she or Mike could even think, the turkey had slithered into the yard. "Hurry!" she screamed. "Miss Tappleton, stop that turkey!" The milkman chased the turkey, Miss Tappleton chased the milkman, and the turkey slid down the hill into the pond. Plop, splash, it bubbled out of sight. When Mr. Tappleton came down to breakfast, he took a long sniff. "I don't smell turkey," he said to his wife. "Of course you don't smell turkey," she replied. "You have a cold." "I don't have a cold," he insisted. Miss Tappleton shook some pepper in the air, and her husband sneezed. No! "See," she said, "you do have a cold." After breakfast, Mr. Tappleton put on his coat and scarf, and hat and gloves. "I'm going to the bakery to buy you our prize." "Wear your boots," she said. "I know for a fact it's quite slippery outside today." Sim's bakery was so crowded, the line reached out onto the sidewalk. Mr. Tappleton hated to wait in long lines, so he went to the diner for a cup of coffee. By the time he got back, the long line was gone, and so were the pies. Mr. Tappleton was afraid to go home with nothing. "2 boxes tied up with string, please," he said. Miss Sim stared at him. "You mean 2 empty boxes?" "That's right." "My, they feel light," remarked Miss Tappleton. "Certainly they're light," resorted Mr. Tappleton. "Miss Sims prides herself on how light her pies are." Miss Tappleton set the table. She called her son. "Kenny, you may make the salad. There's lettuce in the crisper and carrots and radishes too." Kenny's mouth fell open. Just yesterday he had emptied the crisper and fed all the vegetables to the rabbits in Mr. Butterworth's class. How could he tell his mother? He couldn't. So he covered the empty salad bowl with aluminum foil and stuck it in the back of the refrigerator. When the others went to pick up the relatives at the train station, Jenny stayed behind to mash the potatoes. Every year, this was her job. This year, she thought, "I'll make them even better. I'll use the mixer." Just as Jenny flicked on the switch, the phone rang. It was her best friend, Nora. Jenny loved to talk. She talked and talked and talked to her friend Nora. She might have still be talking today, had not a wet glump of something hit her in the back of the head. She turned to see what it was. Splat! Another flump hit her in the face. The mixer was going wild, and mashed potatoes were flying everywhere. Without saying goodbye to Nora, Jenny hung up the phone, scrubbed her face, and wiped the mashed potatoes from nearly everything in the kitchen. She finished just as the others came back. Uncle Fitz patted his stomach. "I'm hungry," he said. Grandfather laughed. "Ha ha ha! I'm as hungry as an elephant." Everyone sat down at the table. It was a Tappleton tradition for Grandmother to say the Thanksgiving prayer. "As soon as the turkey's ready," she smiled. "I'm hungry as 2 elephants," said Grandfather. Mr. Tappleton went to the oven. "I'll get the turkey now." He opened the oven door. "The turkey is gone!" Mr. Tappleton searched on the table, under the table, and in every kitchen cabinet. He looked in the sink, in the broom closet. "I can't find the turkey anywhere." Miss Tappleton told them how their fine turkey had slipped out the door and down the steps and across the yard and down the street, plop, splash into the pond. "So much for the turkey," said Uncle Fix. "Never mind," said Aunt Hedda good-naturedly. "We'll fill up on trimmings." "I'll get the salad," Jenny announced. "Then Grandmother can say the prayer." Jenny set the bowl on the table and peeled off the aluminum foil. Everyone stared at the salad that was not there. I fed the rabbit to school," confessed Jenny. "So much for the salad," said Uncle Fitz. "I'm as hungry as 3 elephants," Grandfather sighed. Kenny jumped up. "We'll have Jenny's mashed potatoes." And he brought the pot from the kitchen and lifted the lid. I was on the phone," said Jenny meekly, "and the mixer went wild." "So much for the potatoes," said Uncle Fitz. "I'm hungry as 4 elephants," Grandfather declared. "The pies!" cried Miss Tappleton. "I'll get the pies!" Miss Tappleton brought in the boxes, set them down, and untied the strings. "You brought home 2 empty boxes?" She glared at Mr. Tappleton, who covered his ears. 5 elephants! Ugh, groaned Grandfather. The dining room was quiet. Everyone looked down at the empty table. Uncle Fritz muttered something, but it could not be heard above the rumble of his stomach. A tear rolled down Jenny's cheek. "No Thanksgiving dinner. Nothing to say a prayer for." Kenny sighed. Grandmother smiled. "Of course there's something. There is more to Thanksgiving than turkey and trimmings." And then Grandmother Tappleton asked everyone to bow their heads and to hold hands around the dining room table. "And this is the Thanksgiving prayer," she said. "Turkeys come and go, and trimmings can be lost, we know. But we're together, and that's what matters, not what's served upon the platters. Amen." "That was a wonderful prayer," said Aunt Hedda. Miss Tappleton jumped up. "We have liverwurst and cheese in the refrigerator." "I'll help fix the sandwiches," offered Mr. Tappleton. Jenny wiped her tears away. "I'll get the pickles." Jenny laughed. "I'll open the jar of applesauce for dessert." And so the Tappletons had their Thanksgiving dinner after all. Uncle Fitz's stomach stopped grumbling, and Grandfather Tappleton ate enough to feed 6 elephants. In fact, everyone had plenty to eat. But most of all, they had each other. The end. The Tappletons had a different Thanksgiving. But most of all, they had each other. Who do you get to celebrate Thanksgiving with?